2, 1.
Welcome back to the Energy Table. My name is Orange. I'm here with some lovely, energetic individuals. Would you mind introducing yourselves?
Do I go first?
Yes, please.
My name is Leander. I am her son.
Imagine, huh?
Imagine.
Immediately.
Hi guys, I'm Lutu Manondwe. I'm a lover and a lover and a lover
And a glorious mom.
and a glorious mother. Yes,
You are.
yes, I am.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, I am Tobisa Sotashe, aka Toto /Soso, derivatives of my name and surname. I am guilty at some point in my life of overstaying, so here we are.
Yeah.
The topic already.
Hi, everybody. I am Shanice, and I'm a holistic beautician. And here we are.
So we are here today to break it into our perspectives and experiences to do with generational trauma, highlighting the experience or the choice of overstaying. Is it a choice? Are we forced? Are we called? Are we pulled? Whatever that is.
Disposition.
Yeah. Let's dig into it because I've been guilty so many times. But every time I must say I'm overstaying, I'm learning so much from it.
Yeah, definitely.
So looking back, I would have done it again.
Yeah.
Because
Feel the same
sometimes in the overstaying, you're receiving the lessons you need for your
Exactly.
evolution.
Exactly.
So, but then there comes the conscious part where you know, okay, now I've received.
Yeah.
When do I really leave?
Yeah.
And how do I leave without?
What's the signs for you
seeming-
that you say it's time to go? And why?
I think one is what shows up on me, as in when my body starts to respond in a way where I'm no longer feeling good internally, or I'm having to put extra effort just to do little things. I'm continually tired.
Yeah.
That's the physical signs for me that
Yeah.
you need to be leaving because energetically you can no longer be there.
Yeah.
And then I think within the situation, it's just constant chaos. Like there's just no harmony. When there's no more harmony, I'm like, okay. There's no
So
harmony.
is that still called overstaying then? Because I feel like this is the healthy, this is when you experience
I think when it gets there, sorry, my love.
No, go on, baby.
But I think when it gets there, it's because you've known that it's time to leave, but you have insisted on staying. Because I think in one example where I think I overstayed, I remember the day when I knew it was time to leave, and I grieved and I cried uncontrollably. Like when I wake up in train, right? And like, this is weightlifting, doing, star jumps, and I was crying through it. And like getting into the shower and still crying.
Yeah.
This is not an R&B like video or anything, but it's actually crying because my entire body embodied the fact that it is time to go. And my then partner saw that and was like, it's not working, is it? And despite me insisting that we can do this, my then partner was like, no, I saw it and I can't unsee it.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
But ain't that beautiful that the partner also recognized? Because when the partner doesn't recognize and then they're a stayer,
Trying to gaslight
you
you
know what I
into
mean?
what you're talking about.
And there's like all of like, say, cultural or traditional aspects added in where it's like, we can't leave this because we have this happening, we have that happening, we have to make this happen. When that person has that energy, that's when the overstaying is like, oh my gosh. But when the partner can recognize, I've never had that.
In my last overstay experience, like I was feeling it physically, like heavily. I was getting panic attacks, and they felt like what I could call a spiritual attack. Like my body was so sore, and I would wake up crying, and I wouldn't even remember. It was like I would go into a trance.
You're not even there.
Yeah. Like it was that
a real
deep.
feeling.
And then I would remember certain dreams. I'm like, no, man, these dreams are telling me something. Like there's definitely, I need to leave here, because I feel like generally speaking, when someone isn't taking care of your spirit, that's a spiritual attack in itself.
Yeah.
So my spirit just did not feel safe. And I was like, if I don't get out of this, I'm just going to completely
You're going to
deplete.
glitch. Yeah, eclipse.
Yeah.
So when we talk about, not you as well, please, sorry.
Oh, overstaying is I feel like that's quite a regular thing for me, to be fair. But I think that's because when I'm in situations like that are romantic as well, it's like I believe in the potential of things a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like, because at the end of the day, everything, it's all about the human experience, like seeing a reflection of someone else in yourself. So I see like myself as like, it's almost like I see myself as a trifecta of like mind, body and soul. So it's like my mind tells me like I need to stay, believe in this person. And then my body, like even when I feel like I need to leave, it's just like I feel like all the physical sensations of just being with someone, it feels like I need to stay there. But then once it interferes with my soul, that's when I'm like, I gotta go.
Because it does feel like a spiritual attack.
Yeah, I think it's all about reflection as well.
Yeah.
Like especially when you're with someone that's like been through a lot, or like has been in pain. I feel like I tend to attract people that are like they've been through a lot. So it's like I feel
There's
that when I'm
something
with
that
them,
you
like,
can provide them with.
Yeah. So once my soul checks out, I can't do it anymore, I think. Yeah.
So I feel a lot like you. Like I have a regular pattern of overstaying as well. You know, my character, the descriptions get worse and worse, isn't it? But no, but because I always want to see the greatest in another, and it's a very late realization for me that I'm actually providing something to another by not overstaying, because I will permit them to see something beyond instead of keeping this stagnant and keeping them wherever they are at that moment, not just for myself, but also for them. And that helped me to actually
It's all about the art of letting go at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Because it's like,
definitely.
especially if you know I'm not invested in this.
Yeah.
Like even though you're trying to stay, like you know that it's gonna hurt you eventually, because my soul has checked out. So it's a matter of, once I let you go, you need to know that you need to find purpose in something else now, other than me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to like trauma bonding and stuff like that, it's almost like there's reliance
Yeah.
on a person now.
It's wild to me that he's 20 and he's speaking like, I'm looking at him, I'm smiling, and I'm like, Mama, you did good. I can't lie.
No, this is so powerful. This is so powerful.
I'm having a happy
Wow.
moment.
This is so powerful.
Wow.
Yeah, no,
This is so powerful.
I don't know. It's more so within my nature just to show kindness. So then when that happens, there's a lot of things that come under it. So it's like you learn a lot about a person with the kindness that you show to them as well.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like it all
definitely.
I
goes a
think
long way.
it's so fascinating to think
And
of
it's
it
kind to let go.
as
Yeah, it
as
is kind to
kindness
let go.
to let go. Because I recall a friendship when I just moved to London. And this is the first friendship I had in London. And I think on fundamentals, we just didn't agree. And this one thing happened. And the person was very quick to be like, this is not going to work. I already knew on fundamentals, this is not going to work. But, the hopeful romantic in me was like, yeah, we'll press on.
We got this.
And how clear the person was to be like, no, saved me a lot, because I realized how much I would have invested, and down the line it would have been so much more that I had invested and I had to lose. So I definitely now recognize that it's so much kindness to recognize when this is not going to work, articulate it and let go.
And the thing is, friendships can be more draining than relationships sometimes.
There's a lot more investment.
Yeah, and we
friendships-
don't talk enough about the elements of overstaying in friendships.
Oh
you know?
my God.
We really do not talk about it.
I haven't even thought that was
You're fighting.
Listen, yo.
But you're not lying.
It's a
Friendships,
lot.
girl.
It's a lot. And I hear some people when they're saying, I've been friends with someone since we're in primary school. I'm like, wow, well done you. Because I don't know.
I have a few friends from primary school.
I don't have
and we
any.
actually friends.
Do
We
you
have,
feel like you still align on values and life experience?
we have
and-
seasons where we go like this and come back like this. but I
that's
feel like
beautiful.
because we met in a very unconditional time of our lives for like a period of very intensely around each other for a period of like 5-6 years, the core has connected. So wherever we are going, however extreme and different it is, we still recognize one another, and we have very honest, direct conversations. This is how we were.
But would you say they're like close friends?
Yeah.
Because I find
I mean, if they lived
you can be
around,
connected, but
but not necessarily
like,
if they lived around,
Yeah.
we
I
would
call you
have.
like I call you.
Yeah, they still call me here and there. Like we still have like. No. I mean, no. When we speak, we it's almost like we touch base on every corner of what is and what had been, and we talk about very vulnerable things and just check up on each other about that.
nice.
It's just we don't live in the same countries, you know.
But maybe the distance is what makes it healthiest, right?
And the
That's the
going
point.
apart.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we're back
Intimacy.
together.
But they lived here. Like
Yeah.
they actually we like I moved here, and then the other one moved here, and then the other one got married and moved here too, and we were like, oh my God, we've got one another, and we were like really embracing it, enjoying
what
it.
part of your life did you become friends? Because
Say again, the
I think
question?
what part of your life did you become friends? Because I feel like friendships tend to outgrow one another when when a version of you that you were then
Yeah.
can no longer align.
Yep.
Like if you were like you are still very like that high energy,
I was 11
very
when I met them.
unapologetic, but you being girl.
But I've always been very I feel like, you know, what allowed us to bond unconditionally is we don't have similar cultural backgrounds. We don't have we don't have the things that was restricting us in common. So we met at a very literally unconditional. We just
for
love
who you
each
are.
other, and we love the differences about each other, and we've been speaking about what it is that we want to do when we grow up, and we appreciate that certain things are checked off.
I think it's like you said, going back to that place you were.
Yeah.
You were there. You get to do that every time.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And just out of interest, every time you do reconnect, does it still feel as easy?
Yeah.
Because I think for me, I have just entrusted the universe to, provide the right people for each phase and stage. And I think it's taken life experience
Yeah.
to trust that the universe knows better than I do.
Yeah.
And that has allowed me to love with an open heart, to friendship with an open heart, to know that these are my people and they feel like home.
Yeah.
But still let that be as is without a need to be like, these are my people for life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've definitely matured and had to even speak about like when we were starting to see each other less or speak to each other less, and like, is that like, are you still cool? Are we still cool?
Yeah, the
like
check-in.
it's like we don't not speak about the important things, and I feel like it's something we appreciate about one another, and it's just kept it alive and well. And there was a time when I was awakening, or when things was like very extreme, like shifting my understanding of things, and I thought, oh, there might be one of those as well that are gonna fall off, and I just let go of them, and they came after me, and they're like, no. What's going on? Like, let's sit with this. And they were the only ones. And I've realized, like, I actually do very much appreciate. They have not done nothing apart from looking like or sounding like certain people that have fallen off, but they were not like them. So, it was like, I don't know, the
Reality
efforts
check,
was...
reality check.
I like
That's
that
nice.
you said they didn't fall off. Because I find
But I
that
let them go.
your people will pursue you.
Yeah.
And will pursue
Yeah.
every version you become. I
Yes.
have this one friend, even when I go home, she'll just come and camp. Like, she's based in Johannesburg. And like the last time I was home, she just was home with me. And like, she was just there, like with my mom and everything.
Yeah.
Because your people will find you
Yeah.
and will pursue you
Yeah.
and will be
Yeah.
like, this is what you need now. And I will show up as that version. Like, we're not in the same city. We can't just go out and party together. But when you come home and need to rest, I will rest.
I
with
think
you.
that takes a level of security within themselves, that they can see you evolving, changing, but they still want to be around you. A lot of people lack that, I realize. Like, when you're changing, it's like people are looking at you like, you're going to leave me behind. And it's like,
Abandonment
but
issues.
yeah, and it's like, even if I do, it's okay, but it won't be from a bad place, because I feel like we hold on to people sometimes because we're like, no, but we've been friends. But it's okay for us to no longer be friends. We didn't fight, whatever. But I think I have that same issue of letting go of people, in the sense of I don't like to hold on to people, but I struggle with we didn't fight. So how do I say I don't want to be your friend anymore?
You know what though? Not everything has to end toxic, innit?
Yes.
No, it doesn't have to be toxic.
It doesn't, but I
Yes.
struggle with just saying, yo, I feel like we don't serve
don't align.
purpose.
Sis, I
in
sit,
each
I
other's
sit them
lives.
down.
align.
I sat
I
the number
struggle
of
with
people,
that.
I set them down and I'll give them their flowers. I'll acknowledge the beautiful time we've had. And some people, I don't know if you guys are going to watch this, but you will know who I'm talking about. And it's like, I will tell them what it is that is not aligning, that's not serving me, ultimately not serving you, because we're just moving, and that should be something to appreciate too.
Yeah.
Who knows
And
what the future brings?
Yeah.
And what can one say about that?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
You know?
And I think it's better to articulate what
Yeah.
no longer works.
Exactly.
I
Because
need
the
to go back to
worst-
writing letters. I'm so good at writing. I can put it in words. Maybe I
do
should
that.
start writing letters.
The point is you communicate
Yeah.
what no longer works,
Yeah.
as opposed to just silence. and
Yeah.
removing yourself.
And
I think-
disappearing.
Yeah, and disappear. And we're Aquarius.
Don't do that.
I am so good at ghosting.
We can.
I used to. I used
Capricorn
to.
Mercury
But
shade me.
it takes a lot to be able to be like, you know what, this is what doesn't work. Because then it leaves room for something that we can pick up on when we've evolved and matured. And we're like, oh yeah, no, we were young and dumb. But now
And
we
you
know
also
better.
leave things in a place of respect, mutual respect
Yeah.
and integrity.
Yeah.
So whatever comes going forward shall be built on that too. So it's not something where they're like, oh, she couldn't be honest with me. How can I trust her going forward? Because it's the honesty, the transparency, the authenticity
Yeah.
is what is love.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, even if you go this way.
But do you know what as well, yeah?
Yeah.
Sometimes I think you're saving someone when they, like, say for example, like me, okay, I'll just say me.
Personally.
Like, being very adventurous, being very like open to life, being very like unconventional in many aspects. I know that you may not be able to withhold that. And it may damage you more than it can elevate you. So therefore, sometimes that withdrawal is not even about like anything personal. It's literally, it's just, this is to save you. If anything, if you come,
Yeah.
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
This is fun right here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then if you don't, that's okay, because that's safe actually.
Yeah.
You know, that can enable us to still love each other as however that love needs to be. But there are some times where it's like,
And we're not sorry.
This is
Sue.
how I hurt myself with the overstaying element. Do you remember last time I was talking about sometimes we hurt ourselves? I feel like that's exactly the thing.
Yeah.
I hurt myself by not needing evident reason to be like, okay, no. Yeah. So
And
I'll be
I
hurting
think
myself.
the hardest thing is acknowledging that you were then complicit. Because it's easy to be like, I overstayed and they hurt me.
Yeah.
And then you have to accept that you stayed.
Yes. Yeah.
You're an adult.
Yeah.
you chose this.
And you had hope and faith in the entire dynamic that it will
Yes.
turn around one day. My God. But like the accepting and forgiving yourself, I think, has been the hardest thing. Because then you take accountability.
Yeah.
And you have to.
You have to, definitely. And you can't heal from things without holding yourself accountable.
Accountability
You
is a big
cannot.
one.
At any dualities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't.
I think faith is a huge one. Because hope and faith, I don't think are the same things. Just
they're
as you
not.
were
They're not.
saying
They're
it,
not.
Really?
because
Yeah.
hope
They're not.
can feed you distortion, whilst faith allows whatever is to be
Yeah.
and to accept that.
I
Yeah.
think hope can become delusion at some point.
Yeah.
It's a
I
fact.
genuinely think it can. It actually can.
That's where we get the Lulu
This
from.
one.
I feel like faith is like true belief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
actual like.
And it includes hope.
It requires God.
And I
Faith
feel
That's
like-
why I
requires
was
God.
like, it includes hope,
I feel like
but it's
faith-
different.
Not the other
Faith
way
is
around.
faith is something where you believe in like both sides. You're taking both sides into perspective. Hope is a personal thing.
Yeah.
I feel like
about you.
when you think of faith,
Oh
it's
my
like
days,
you believe in
yeah.
how the other person will look at the situation as well. So it's like they're not they go under one another, but they're not the same thing.
They're not.
They're not.
They're
They're not. And I
Yeah.
think one situation where I was very hopeful was the dynamic, and we go back to like parents. Like I know with my dad, he provided financially. but emotionally MIA. And I remember as a kid explaining that I want him. Like the finances, hey, sort that out with my mom.
Yeah.
And in my growing up, I found different ways to explain why he matters and why my relationship matters with him. And that was in hope that if I find the right words, one day he'll get it. And he's Cancerian, your crew. So
We can be
cry.
stubborn, boy.
He'd cry when I explain what I need. And you're like, okay, he got it. And then goes on with his life like nothing happened. And until, in my late 20s, I had a conversation with him and I was like, bruh, I did well as a dad, okay? And I think the needing to then reckon with the fact that he did the best that he could.
Yeah.
That was rather wild because then I had to let go of the ideation and the ideal dad that I had in my mind and accept that this is the person that I have. And that's where you let go of the delulu.
Yeah.
And see people for who they are and
And
appreciate
accept them as they are.
accept
for
them
who
as
they are.
And what they
Yeah.
bring.
Yeah.
Because we chose them too, as our parents.
Wild.
I know.
Rather wild.
But we do. We choose them. We choose
do.
our
Yeah.
parents.
We do.
Generational trauma is
have a whole-
huge.
Yeah.
I
I think I get my overstaying from my mom.
Yeah?
Yeah. I
Tell
do.
us more.
I feel like she's a person who looks to have a reason. Like she's always been that guy. She's very much a keep
guy.
the peace. She's a very keep the peace. Like she doesn't like confrontation. She doesn't like to feel like she's made you uncomfortable, things like that. So I feel like I copied that, but I'm only realizing it now. I think I started realizing it when I was about 30 or so. So now, even now, when I speak, I'm like, but I can't blame it on her because I now know, right?
Yeah.
So it's something I have to work on personally, but I acknowledge the fact that I definitely get it from her because she's very much a keep the peace. Hi, no, don't. And it's like, but then the person won't know how I feel.
Yeah.
If I don't say, it's not always confrontational, it's just me expressing how I feel.
What you need, and I think I've learned now that you need that confrontational moment with people you love. You need to have the hard conversations.
Yeah.
My mom is my favorite person because we know how to go apart and we know how to repair. We know how to cry it out and be like, I don't agree. And then we know how to be like, but I still love you. So how are we going to do
I
this?
love that.
That's beautiful.
And that's why she's my person. And I think we try in relationships to always keep the peace. So I completely get that.
Yeah.
But you need to have the hard moments. They mustn't be 80% of the time, of course. That's when gotta leave.
Yeah.
But they are the moments, and I think the opening to be like, this is what I need. This is how I feel. This is me. Huh? And this is when I think you allow the person to not have an idea of you,
Yeah.
but rather to see you and experience you and then allow you to exist and then fully love you.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of us, we grow up expecting someone to invite us into that kind of dynamic when really I feel like we have the power to not give any room for anything else but that. Like we have a choice as to how we show up every day, who we are going to represent as, how much room we are going to give for a distorted form of definition of us, because it's clear as day if we are clear as day, and if we are like receptive to questions and conversations without feeling triggered by maybe being misunderstood, because if we are being very one-sided and very real with it and consistent in that, I feel the other person is given an opportunity to be a beautiful complement to us.
But you see, I think for me, it's when I realized that, say, romantic relationships, they're a different dynamic, because with parent-child relationship, and this is the first relationship you have,
Yeah.
you sort of stick with it, right? And you learn how to cope in this environment how best to survive. And so if it requires that you're quiet and you're the good child, you will be that until you get your independence. And then when you get into romantic relationships, that's when I think you learn that, hang on, I have agency and autonomy. And I don't have to sit through this. And I don't have to swallow everything, but I can articulate and be like, hey, I'm not trying to, but I have to tell you, this is what I need. And be okay if there's capacity or not for what I need. But at least I articulated it, because I think this is the first time when you realize it's adult to adult that you can honor yourself. Because it's not in all parent-child relationships where you can honor yourself. Because you're often taught this is good, this is bad. And so you comply with what is good for the most part. And I think we solicit, at least in my experience, in your first actual relationship, like, what's good here? And then you're like, what's good doesn't serve me.
Can we figure out how this worked?
This is why I teach my kids to say no. Because if they can't say no to me, if they can't say no to me, how will they learn how to say no to other people? Because they're always going with what I'm saying. But I have to understand that they're their own individuals.
That's a powerful.
Do you know what I mean?
Hello, individual.
Yeah.
So like respectfully though, respectfully, like, no, mum, I can't, I don't feel comfortable, or for whatever reason it may be. And I also teach them that you can't say, you can't be okay with something just because someone older is saying it to you, or they speak to you a certain type of way just because they're older than you. Respect your elders is because elders are supposed to respect you. Do you understand? So it goes back and forth. Like, I can listen to him giving me advice, grown 40-year-old woman, and I will sit and listen to him, because there's things, life is different now. There's things that he can teach me that I may not necessarily be aware of. Or maybe he can tell me like, yo, mum, you're moving mad.
It's like that saying about like, it's always like your parents are also living for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes back to
You
that.
know about
Hello, adult. Love this.
Yeah, so I think
You've come into this lifetime with a wonderful conscience.
I think that's the main foundation of why our relationship is so strong as well.
Yeah,
because I feel like, obviously, well, you say I give you advice. I hope I do.
Yeah, you do all the time.
Just stuff like that. I feel like because I've been able to be so open with you throughout my life, I feel like I can just tell you when you're going wrong as well.
Yeah.
It's like, listen, I didn't really, have the most ideal like parental situation.
Yeah.
So even when it comes to like your relationships with like whoever you're with at a certain time, like, I will know whether that's good for you or not as well.
Yeah. And he's always very vocal. Always vocal.
I'm melting inside.
I so love this. And I just recently learned this, right? The fact that kids are also here to teach their parents.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
An entirely different way of existing, and that's involved.
But I feel like it's a whole ego death.
And kids sometimes outgrow their parents. They do, especially like spiritually, because I feel like you're more aware than I was at your age. Way more aware spiritually. Like, he's a lot more spiritually in tune.
I feel like it's always a step up. So wherever we come from, we were more, and we will give life to what's going to be more to us. So it's meant to go that way.
But then I'm not resistant. Whereas I could say my mum's generation is.
Yeah, but that's why it goes this way. Because if he was born to your mum, it would probably be a bigger clash. Because it's just so far away from.
But I think it's different because my mum is, she turned 70 last year.
Oh,
hallelujah.
Congratulations, Mom.
But I think what I appreciate is how she's been a teachable parent. Because I am a lastborn, and what lastborns get to do is everything that everyone didn't do.
Yes.
At least you know.
You're lastborn too, right? Because she's a firstborn. You're a firstborn.
And so are you. So the dynamics for you guys are different.
And like, who my eldest brother knows as my mom is not who I've experienced. And I've experienced someone that is malleable, teachable. My mom is super spiritual, and I'm queer. And somehow we love each other and coexist.
Beautiful.
But then she's super spiritual. That makes sense.
Super.
Yeah.
Super.
So she's supposed to.
But this is what I appreciate about you too, because it's taken a lot of humility
It does.
As a parent to be like, what is this child here to teach me?
Yeah.
Takes a hella lot of humility.
And then show up in the moments of
trust.
trigger.
Yes.
I have difficulties
That's
with that.
that
I'm going to
faith.
be straight
That
up.
takes
think-
faith in the
Yeah.
plan.
Tell us more.
I always...
He saved me, to be honest.
I feel
Yeah,
that.
no, he
I
did.
feel that.
Hello,
He did.
Savior.
He
said, "Brothers,
Adult
mommy."
Savior. What else are we giving him?
all of my children saved me in different ways, but he was the very first to save me. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like we need saving at different points in life, obviously. But like he's my first child, so he saved me. Like I think my life could have been a mess. You know, like it could have been a mess. I'm not sure how I could describe the mess, but he definitely saved me because I was like, yo, I'm not fighting for myself anymore. I'm fighting for him too. So I have to do better in certain aspects of my life. Otherwise, it will ruin him. And I've got this whole thing where it's like, I know that trauma and things like that, hardships are unavoidable, but I want my children to have as little to heal from as a mother wound as possible.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, what a
I
gift.
really like, I want them to be able to be like, yo, my mum really tried and like genuinely like from my core. So I'm very, very intentional in my healing because I'm like, my kids are watching me.
Yeah. That one was the thing
Yeah.
that made me want to move mountains. The fact that my children are watching me and I want to do it for them because I felt like I wasn't worth that for myself.
Same.
Weird.
Yeah.
And especially having a firstborn daughter, she was watching me and I wanted her to watch me. And then at every season that I came to realize things, I was like, you have to kick your own ass now. Like, do it because she's watching and you can't waste a day.
Yeah.
And I became like from being very timid. And when you were saying like, you know, we grow up and we want to, whatever relationship we have with our parents, I found myself in my relationship where I then wanted to have children with. And I became the very same person, which is not very much like me. I'm not quiet. I'm not timid. I'm not none of that. But I was like that to my parents because I wanted them to have a stress-free parenting experience with myself. And then I found myself in a dynamic with a man where I wanted to just create stress-free energy, but it just was trauma bonding. And with the children and my daughter specifically, I was like, oh, wow, I've gotten myself into an environment that I have to teach her. If she ever was to find herself in a dynamic like this, how do you navigate this? How do you integrate love, but respect for self first and also respect for... All of these things came and I was like, I've not seen it being done. How do you do this? And I was just trying.
Because I think advocating for what you need without feeling guilty as a female, what an exercise.
Girl, and you know how many people are trying to implement the guilt and be like, you can't do this. You have
it
now...
comes from everywhere else but you.
Everywhere. Whoever knows you will first start with that and be like, are you sure? Because you're going to break up a family.
Right.
You're going to have children. They're not going to
But
have
then
their
do you know
dad
the
around.
thing is,
What you...
people will send you into hell, and that's what it is when you're not honoring that.
No, not even send you. No, sis. I don't think they're sending me. They were inviting me to hell.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
they were
send you
in
there.
there.
Right. You ain't going there.
They're there already.
But it's like...
And they just need more people.
But it wasn't even like something
join
where
where
I
I'm
felt
suffering.
they were being
Misery
negative.
needs company.
It's just
And they
whatever
don't like me.
whatever they choose, whatever one chooses for themselves is all they can offer. And it's something that we also have to find appreciation for because they're trying to help.
They are.
You just have to understand, am I trying to do what's normal out there or am I trying to elevate and create a new experience that gonna have to bring new movements?
And I think that requires a lot of honesty with yourself.
Yeah.
And then a lot of courage
Yeah.
to do what you've not seen before.
Yeah.
And a lot of vulnerability too.
It's a scary
It's
place.
vulnerability to be like, this is what I need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to stand on it.
Yeah.
And to insist on it.
Yeah.
And not feel guilty. And not disrespectful or anything.
Yeah.
And be accepting that if there's no capacity here, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I can continue.
Yeah.
You don't need to continue. And I don't need to overstay.
Yeah. You know, as you're speaking, I'm thinking like even in naming my children, right? I named them like reminders to self. or like ambition for myself. So like with him, he's Leander. So Leander means to expand, right? So even though his dad wasn't necessarily there, like he was expanding the maternal side, right? And then Mañano, which my mum named
That's
him,
my brother's name.
means
Hello.
unity.
What a beautiful name.
Yeah. And then my son who passed, he was Yakani Ikaya, which was build a home. And that was like, he was like the foundation in a sense. And then now it's like to actually build. So Yakani Ikaya. And then Leletu is Leletu Itemba Elihle, like our hope and our trust in something beautiful. And then Shingai means courageous. And then Vumani means to accept. And then Unekaya, which means you have a home.
There's so many names.
Yeah.
You have how many children?
So like literally like their names are like a
So
story.
they have 2 names each or 3
They
names
have,
each?
Leletu she has 4 names.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just 4.
Yeah, Leletu Itemba Elihle
No
Tandiwe.
competition.
Yeah, and then you have 2, and then Shingai has 3, and then Yakani was a
Vumani
double
Bo,
barrel.
the one she doesn't like.
Yeah. Vumani Bo, she's like, don't say that.
Oh, really?
I just love how these sound when you pronounce them alone. There's so much power that radiates.
Yeah,
in
I
these
was
names.
very intentional. I was like, nah, I need like their names to remind me of like the purpose here. Like,
And you know, that's exactly what their soul does anyway. Our children, it comes to give the reminders. Because similarly to, I think we both said it, where you feel like your children came to save you. That's exactly how I feel with both my sons as well. Like at different stages in life, they've come and they've empowered me to be and to keep becoming.
yes.
You know, and even, you know, rest in peace to the ones that haven't transcended to this realm. Even their existence, to as minuscule as it was,
Yeah,
it's also reminders.
definitely.
No, big
Keep
purpose.
going. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it's
They do say like children that are not, if I can say like not making it, you know, those births that are not extending to the life's experience, they come with that purpose of shifting the mind and the just
spirit.
the internal world of the
Yeah.
individual to prepare them for what's to come or for
Yeah.
maybe a later time for when they return. You know,
Right,
everyone
right.
comes with a purpose for however long and short.
And they also automatically become our elders, like our ancestors, like automatically. Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
beautiful to know.
I commend you all on just being amazing moms. And I think even to my mom, what I said to her, I think last year was, thank you for not passing on bitterness to me. Like the intentionality of just choosing peace, choosing love, choosing joy. Because there's so many, like the system between how mothers and daughters work. Sometimes you don't need the guys to interfere in how the toxicity perpetuates itself.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just from mother to daughter.
It's the reflection, the mirror.
And and how you guys have been intentional about just parenting as required, not as you know. Such a beautiful thing.
But I find it is the biggest lesson for me because I keep falling into my own traps. It's like the amount of times you would say I slip up and I do what I say I don't want to do, but then I go back and revisit it. And I try and sit with my children and allow them to see me as the human that's also learning. And I will expand to say, you know, every adult, doesn't matter the age, we're all here learning, you know, and it's not something to feel degraded or to feel small, to feel embarrassed. It's an empowering thing because you now have learned something, or now I'm getting to learn something that I can apply, you know, and you guys can remind me.
Yeah.
You know, but I do constantly slip and fall and do the things that I don't want to do because I'm still
human.
navigating.
Yeah, but it's
girl,
also
but it's-
beautiful to like
and you're
realize.
conscious of it as well, which is the most important part is being conscious of it, because a lot of people, they just like make it a habit rather than being conscious of it.
Yeah.
And they become comfortable in those habits.
But I also think it humanizes the parent
Yeah.
to be fallible,
Yeah.
to be human and be like, this is me. And then allows the kid to be like, I can be me too.
And me can
Yeah.
make mistake.
I hope.
Mistake is a great part of learning.
Yeah. I've always said to you, thank you for giving me grace. Yeah.
How do you? I'm, I like to create theories in life and just experiment. It gives me like a little hint of curiosity for what could be over there, what might be coming through with this person or that person. So just try and experiment with generational trauma. And it wasn't funny yet in my head, it was. I found.
Orange wants to speak.
No, because it's a powerful class, generational trauma. It's like something that most of the times we're born with, and we can't see it unless we figure it out.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you explain what you mean by generational? Because I don't have that. I don't necessarily, from witnessing it, I've never witnessed it, but I've still overstayed. And like my mom is the type that walked away from a marriage that didn't work.
Yeah.
So I can't say she passed on my overstaying tendencies, but I have learned the overstaying from, this is what I need to do to get my needs met.
That probably comes from your dad then. The relationship
but
with
also
your dad.
it's not because of something I saw and witnessed, but it's what I thought I need to do to get what I need from here.
Yeah.
So it's not necessary. That's why I want you to expand on it.
Go.
Yeah?
Because I was going to say, no, for real, like I think there's generational, we can call it generational trauma, but sometimes you can receive that as generational blessings. Some of those qualities that your parents had to embody in order to progress through life, they are also your blessings. Even if they come with trauma that is devastating and that is heartbreaking and that takes you down dark paths, they're still blessings in one way or another because they shape your character to being as
Absolutely
profound as it is.
Going back to
what I
faith.
mean?
Yeah.
Something being like part of
A divine
the
orchestration.
experience that you have faith in, however it comes through. And my generational trauma part was my greatest blessing because it helped me become.
Likewise.
There was something that was
like I
holding
used
me
to
back.
always see it as oh my gosh, like this happens because this is that pattern and that pattern. But then eventually I got to a place of actually, thank goodness
that happened.
because now I get to see these things. Now I get to be who I need to be because these are for me. Do you know what I mean? These are my swords, if you will. You know what I mean? These are my things to carry and to sharpen me through life. So like literally it was like maybe 2 years ago after I had my second son where I had to stop putting myself as this happens to me because like this is happening to me, but instead it's happening for me. Yes, like this is happening for me to become, for me to...
Because you recognize the opportunity that you have now to impact what it is.
Or to just be as I am.
Just to be with everything also as it is.
Even the darkest parts.
Yeah, because I think we, idealist, Aquarius, we in our minds have an idea of how things should be, but from what I'm getting is an acceptance of all that is and getting to a place where it's all for me. I think that's so empowering.
It is.
Yeah.
Like, and then you also just move from this happened to me to be like, this happened. Like you just narrate
This happened.
what is without involving yourself and identifying and overly identifying
If it's good
with
or
what
bad.
was. Because I think that's when you behave like you're wounded. I like how you're like, these are my swords, not swords that have hurt you.
Not in my body.
But this is how I navigate. This is how I draw strength.
Yes. Yes.
Powerful.
That's what it is.
I think personally, I've struggled a lot because I've always, like, throughout my life, I've been bullied. Like, from a young age, like, bullying was just a thing for me. I'm like, one of my earliest memories is going on a swimming trip. And there was this girl who was like 2 or 3 years older than me, and she was trying to drown me.
What?
What?
She was like trying to drown me, and she was telling me that I'm going to kill you. And she's stuffing my head, like holding me down under the water. Luckily, my brother came, and I don't even know if it's something he remembers, but he noticed. He was like, "Where's my sister?" And then she quickly, like, because you can kind of still hear a bit under the water, So I heard him say, "Where's my sister?" And then she just let go. And then I came up from the water.
Because the thing is, I identify with that because I think, the part of working out your own salvation and figuring out who you are, I think you exist in your authenticity. And there's a lot that you have to offer as a person. And so you have to recognize that, because unfortunately, it's a weird thing. I still haven't figured it out. But like, life will try and shut that down before you realize it. Quickly. And the insisting that this is who I am and this is the light I bring. And instead of being like, I was bullied, the changing that to like, I'm going to exist in my fullness, regardless. Oh, the healing that is that. And then where you like, I'm needed in the world.
And I'm not a victim.
No, you're not.
Like, you have to let go of the victim thing. I really like work on that all the time, because it's like a repetitive thing that just keeps
Sometimes
happening.
what I like to do is the person that's oppressing or doing the doing, I feel like they're victims.
Of
Because
something.
they're creating some level of karma.
Definitely.
They're creating an experience that is not serving them, but ultimately like doing things to them that's keeping them in a place where they are not able to.
Here's the thing, I don't even think it's a conscious thing.
No.
I think I haven't figured it out, but it's
like EMP.
realizing your light and trying as best to stifle it before you know that.
That's a different conversation.
I think
It's another conversation we need to have.
It is.
it's like you irritate people's demons.
Yeah, trigger them,
But also,
shed light onto them.
it's another conversation.
We have like 2 minutes
But
left,
I was
you
going to
guys.
say, because experiencing both like not being received fully by an environment, especially growing up with being me, you know, sometimes people just be whatever. And I struggled a lot sometimes in seasons to honor the authenticity. But then I must say, like, last year was when, not last year, was it last year? It was last year now, is when we connected. And I was in that season again of, you know, breaking free from one paradigm of being into expanding into another. And it was just having the external reminders, my sister here, you today, yourself today, as like, it's okay to be. It's safe to be.
Well, you are all constantly that reflection for me. So it's, you know, we have the reflections of who we are.
Yeah.
So if you find yourself in an environment that's more elevating, because it's you.
Yeah. Definitely.
Let's not fall in love today, y'all.
I'm definitely grateful a lot for the people that I've been meeting over, I could say, the past maybe 3 years, because they just make room. Like, we can be here together now, and then next week you're with Soso alone, and I don't feel some type of way. But I've been in a lot of friendships where it's like you're
People starting to
gatekeeping people.
being jealous.
And it's like, isn't it the whole point for us to
And you know
what I mean?
need when.
Yeah.
And your heart is big enough for everyone.
And you
know
can
what?
feel comfortable and safe and be like, oh, I'm so glad that they're getting along.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know?
And you can be what I can't to that person. And it's okay.
No, but it's
Even in love.
because we want the
okay.
person to be just as full as what we're trying to make ourselves.
Loving freely.
So it's, you know, we're trying to loosen ourselves from the generation trauma. I'd like to go to another part because we're coming to an end now, but there is so much to unpack. And I love how honest you guys are, how transparent you guys are, because it is what the world is starving from. So we have to bring it back by being that. And I thank you so much for coming to the energy table.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having talks for the space.
Man,
So let's-
mind blown me.
If you guys don't mind, I'd like you to call me back in this dynamic that we are right now. I'd love to come back and have another part to extend where we've leaving it off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. If you liked what you see,
must.
please like, comment, subscribe. Leave us some questions if you'd like us to bring them up next time. And yes, thank you so much.
Okay, bye.